Welcome to the SBCA podcast, Component Connection, where we explore the people, ideas, trends, and innovations shaping the structural framing industry. Regardless of how you touch this industry, we're glad you're here. Enjoy the episode.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Component Connection. We are joined today by Jess Lohse, our executive director, and I'm going to be your host for this episode, Abby Langenberg, director of business development. We are at BCMC 2025, just wrapping up our last day on the show floor here, and it's been an exciting show. Jess, can you give us just a rundown of the feel of the show this year and what made it different than last year?
Well, first, great to be with you in person, in the flesh. It's great to be together this week with so many people from around the country, even Canada, Europe, Australia. I mean, BCMC really attracts people from all over the world, which is awesome. But specific to this week, I mean, the machinery that was on the show floor, I mean, you obviously had a huge part in doing that, but I think it was over 70,000 square feet, probably our largest since 2007. We incentivized the exhibitors to bring more machinery, and boy, did they show out. All kinds of different stuff. I mean, the machinery was really something to behold. It was great to see that many people excited about machinery, all kinds of different kinds, but that was probably what stood out the most. Obviously, the education, the networking, everything was great, but really, boy, was there a lot of machinery on the show floor this year.
Yeah, one thing we had quite a bit of this year that's a little different than last year was a strong presence from the wall panel manufacturer side. What does that say to you about, where the industry is headed, what our attendees are looking for as next steps in their business maybe, or, what people are excited about in the industry right now?
Well, the panels are a great opportunity for component manufacturers to add value. And how do they do that efficiently? And obviously, the manufacturers are seeing an opportunity. They're talking with their customers each and every day. So they're providing solutions that their customers are wanting, which is great to see. And when I look at a component manufacturer, the first thing that they can do to avoid any type of commoditization is continue to add value. And for a roof truss manufacturer, that's to expand and build floor trusses, be able to offer floor cassettes. Beyond that, offer wall panels, and then do so in a very efficient way. So I think it's kind of foreshadowing a trend or, kind of a continuation of a trend where people are looking to do more with walls. They're much more sophisticated than what they were just a few years ago. The software's better. The application, understanding the framer perspective, which we bring with the National Framers Council and Framer Summit here this week, really shows that there's an opportunity for wall panels and a great way for component manufacturers to get into that. So I think it's a reflection of what they're seeing in the market and kind of what we see as the association as well.
Yeah, so we had over 20 new exhibitors this year that were here for the first time. How do you think that presence of adding the new value of not only the new machinery that was brought to the floor, but 20 new companies for people to kind of see what is going on in the industry, what's new, what's innovative? Some of those were brought through with our innovation grant that we offered for our exhibitors, but what are some other things you saw from some newer exhibitors that kind of stood out to you?
Well, 20 new exhibitors, I mean, gosh, we need to talk to our business development person and tell her, good job. I mean, honestly, great job. And if you run into her, make sure that she knows that. But it is one of those that, every year is different at BCMC. I hear people, I'm going to go next year, every third year, every fourth year. It's a snapshot in time. It's an opportunity to work on your business. It's to see what is here and now, and you don't want to be left behind. And obviously, people that didn't make it are now further behind others that did show up. So it's one of those to where, it's great to see the new exhibitors, what they're bringing, because everybody's got something a little bit different, a little bit their flavor. And again, we're building components. It's not rocket science, but there are advantages. And, you told me once, it's seconds and cents, and that's what we're trying to improve on. And that's really a good thing for component manufacturers. Now, we might get to dollars and minutes in certain aspects, but it is one of those, any incremental improvement is an advantage over your competition and really an opportunity for you to be that much more efficient in your business. Obviously, things are not the best around the country. There's pockets that I talk to people that are doing well, but there's others that aren't so well. So you need to be as efficient as possible and really taking a little bit of time out to come to BCMC, work on your business through the education sessions, through knowing what's going on and seeing how, you might be able to retool a little bit of your equipment to make it just a little bit better, get some ideas and see what you can do. So that's really the opportunity that BCMC brings not only this year, but next year and the years to come.
Absolutely. So beyond equipment and products, BCMC is really about people, right? Like we are not only showing that through our foundation presence this year at BCMC, but also through the SBCA booth that we had for our digital QC. So, what were some of the most meaningful or exciting connections that you saw being made this year around SBCA's presence in the show floor?
Well, years ago, BCMC, we kind of, co-opt that to building community and making connections. And we keep that in our hearts when we plan BCMC, when we look to make those connections. And one of the things we focused on is really drawing that connection between BCMC and SBCA, SBCA is the producer of the show. The staff, the BCMC committee, which is a committee of SBCA, they're the ones that really put on the show. And, things like the booth that we had digital QC and some safety information at showcase a little bit about what we do day in and day out, 365 when we're working on behalf of our members. It's an opportunity for them to see the absolutely awesome tool if you're unfamiliar with it, but digital QC, a way to digitize your quality control processes, gain the understanding of how you trend over time. So, digital QC was a great opportunity. Our safety program, which is in beta, trying to gain the function or gain understanding of what pieces of equipment are out there being used. We are at a call for equipment right now. Obviously, BCMC showcases a lot of new equipment, but we're looking for the old equipment, the used equipment, things that are still in your shop. Because the nuts and bolts of that safety program are to make it specific to make and model operating in your specific location. So we want to take a general safety program and we want to customize it to you. Now, we've got technology that will help us do that, but we just need to know which pieces of equipment are available. So reach out to our staff to do that. Now, you mentioned the foundation, and that's a great opportunity to kind of plug in as well. We raised over $57,000 this week with people just walking around the show floor. The small dollar donations, it shows just how big the hearts are on the people that attend BCMC. 28,000 of that came from the corporate match sponsors from the exhibitors, but that leaves $37,000 from hardworking component manufacturers, framers, exhibitors. Those folks that are day in and day out in our industry really showed up, so where we can continue to do things like the hardship grant, You Should Finally Home, some other things that the foundation's working on. But that's where really we're trying to grow the foundation. It's really still in its infancy. I think we're only a couple years in. We've raised, I think, just over $3 million. We're investing that to try to use the proceeds to fund the hardship grants and other things. So it's one that we're still building, the endowment portion of it, but through the fundraising, through the hardship grants, we're trying to drive awareness as well to where it feels as though it's everybody's foundation and not just a few people, but it is our industry's foundation. We want to make sure that we drive that home at BCMC. So look for that to be at future BCMCs as well.
I think that brings about a great point for the SBCA Foundation, bringing a new kind of energy to the show floor when people are walking around, that spirit of collaboration, that spirit of giving that carries through to those other conversations that people are having on the show floor about, what things they're missing in their business or, what they're looking for from our exhibitors. Did you notice any difference in how people were engaging with exhibitors from machine demos with, the other exhibitors on the show floor? Kind of what was the energy with that engagement from attendees?
Everybody was happy, which not that they're happy and weren't happy in previous years, but numbers are numbers. And Omaha is one of those places that people from the East Coast struggle to get to. So attendance, we probably didn't set records, even though we came close with, the exhibit space and the amount of machinery that was here. The people that were here were the decision makers. They were the ones that the exhibitors wanted to talk to. So they were happy with the quality of the folks that were here. Now, saying anybody that missed out isn't a quality individual, but it is one of those that they want to make deals. They want to, talk to the decision makers. And, that's what BCMC does year in and year out, is it brings decision makers to the show floor. And obviously there's still more that we could have, but also BCMC is an opportunity for people to learn. So if you're not a decision maker, you can still learn about the equipment and think about where you're going to be in your career 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, and start coming to BCMC. So you've got that history, you understand the differences, and you can spot those, by walking the show floor, and you're not having to learn when you need that piece of equipment for whatever reason. You're not spending 6 months, 9 months trying to make a decision, because then that's only going to put you that much further out when it comes time. And one of those things, it pops up to where you need a piece of equipment or you need a service or you need a solution. Maybe it's not on the show floor, but the person that has the idea or can connect you with something else, the idea, whatever that solution might be, is probably walking around the show floor. So the networking aspect of it is a key as well.
So this year's attendees seemed, like usual, ready to buy and make decisions about a bunch of different stuff. I saw a couple of attendees walking around with their supply lists that they needed to fill while they were at the show. So what does that kind of tell you about the trajectory of next year, kind of leading into BCMC 26, because that, happens now?
Yeah. So, obviously everybody is kind of wondering what the market's going to do. What is the Fed going to do with the interest rates? And, obviously there's a lot of perspectives, a lot of people issuing their opinions from, Truth Social, Twitter, X, Facebook, whatever you want, as well as, in the media. And, everybody wants the same thing, and that's prosperity for the country. And that is led through housing. And we need to be ready to provide that housing but when it comes and when that need. And it's a matter of, is it going to be in the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months? But we're talking months and not years. And I've been through that cycle to where you're like, I don't know where the bottom is. It keeps following year after year. Everybody I talk to, including the economists, we had a couple here at the show this week, they think it's coming soon. Now, it's not going to be a rocket ship up like we might have experienced after COVID, or kind of in that COVID frenzy of trying to move and relocate, and, everybody's working from home and that sort of thing. But it is going to be one where we're starting to see an increase. And that's when the good operators understand when it's time to reload. And it felt kind of like people were reloading on the show floor rather than just trying to batten the hatches and survive. People are thinking about, okay, when there's an opportunity, I need to be able to be reactive very quick. Now, that it's probably going to be within a year, but it is one of those, that's the feel I got, is they're like, okay, I need to know about this equipment. I'm going to ask for a quote. I might sit on it for a little while until I feel more comfortable, but I'm ready to pounce when his time. And that's where we get to, the certain operators and others, they just want to stay in the loop and understand things, and they want to network and see, what other people are doing. But that's why BCMC is such a great opportunity, is there's so many different needs met on the show floor and the education rooms, the networking, both as part of the formal BCMC events, but also after hours at some of the supplier events, or just hanging around town and meeting people either at dinner or maybe having a drink or two in the evenings.
Yeah. So based on everything you saw here in Omaha, what are you thinking about BCMC 2026? When is it going to be? We're in Columbus next year.
Yeah. So we're looking at, I believe it's September 14th through the 18th. So September 14th through the 18th in Columbus next year. I'm telling the exhibitors that if we can keep the enthusiasm the exhibitors had this year with the equipment they brought, combined with the proximity to so many component manufacturers Columbus offers, we need to be ready to scale from how many tote bags we have to how many people we're going to have in our education rooms. And I'm planning on leading an effort to where we're recruiting component manufacturers throughout the year, and not just a few weeks or a few months ahead of time, but put it on your calendar right now. Go into your Outlook or whatever it is and mark down 3 months from now, hey, when do we register? When do we get going for Columbus? It offers so many opportunities for you to drive in, fly in, or whatever, however you get there. It's on a river, I'm sure, and you need to boat if you can, but it is one of those to where get to Columbus next year, next September, and make sure you're there. You don't want to miss this one, because the equipment that we've seen today, it's only going to get better and it's going to get more plentiful. You're going to need to be there, but also we've raised the bar with our education. We're going to match that need as well and drive that much more. So really, I'm excited about it already. I want to start planning. I want to get going and, start making those announcements as soon as possible. This is as energetic and as enthused as I've been after BCMC since I've been attending BCMC for, at least 15, maybe close to 20 years. So it's a great opportunity, and really, Omaha was such an amazing city, but I'm really looking forward to Columbus at this point.
Well, thank you so much for being in person today. And we've had a great week. So we're excited to get back and get on 2026. Here we go.
Yeah, our business development person really set the bar high this year. So we are looking forward to next year.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us, and like and subscribe to our podcast wherever you are listening, and feel free to join us on the next episode of Component Connection. See you guys later.
Thanks for listening to Component Connection, brought to you by SBCA. If there's a topic you'd like us to explore in a future episode, email us at podcast@sbcacomponents.com.